I run my own mental lifestyle website, theversatilevirgo.com, where I focus on everything from new music suggestions, live events, and even things like musically inspired recipes, which is what I'm here to talk to you about today. And if you're a bacon lover, you're going to love this recipe. So the name of this recipe is technically called Shepherd's Breakfast. It's actually a recipe that my dad taught me how to make like years ago when I was probably like 18 or so. It takes a little bit of time to make, but it's so good and it's super easy to make. Like I said, it just takes a little bit of time to cook all the ingredients, but this is a one-pot meal, so there's that. Everybody loves a one-pot meal, less dishes. Or rather, this is technically a one skillet meal normally, but if you watch my videos, you know that I recently moved and I don't have a large enough skillet right now like I had at my old house. I just don't have it at my new house to make this big recipe in. So I'm actually going to be using my cast iron Dutch oven, which I use for soups and a lot of other one-pot meals that I do over on my Dinner and a Vinyl series, like this Creole vegan jambalaya recipe that I like to pair with Exhorter. Oh, and by the way, just really quick, this video isn't sponsored by anyone except for me, my website, and my little Etsy shop where I sell my beauty merch and handmade bags. So if that's something that interests you, I've linked all of that in the description below. So before we get into the album that we're going to talk about today, I just want to give a little bit more of a rundown on this recipe, which by the way, you don't need to worry about writing down any ingredients or anything because I actually have the whole recipe up at theversatilevirgo.com, and that's actually going to be the first link in the description below. So when you're ready to actually make this and go grocery shopping, you can just head on over to that link and it's all there for you. In this video, I'll be specifically showing you how to make this bacon lovers one-pot meal. And just FYI, I am a home cook, not a chef. I taught myself how to cook when I was 15 years old, and the way that I cook is just the way that I like to do things, and it's the way I like to eat. But my methods are definitely not a chef's methods before you come criticizing me in the comments. So this Bacon Lovers one-pot meal, aka Shepherd's Breakfast, consists of very simple ingredients. There are no additional spices, there's no use of any oils. Everything comes from the very basic ingredients that we're going to be using, and that's why I like this recipe so much. And it's also what makes it super easy. You just prep your ingredients and go. This dish consists of bacon, smoked sausage, banana peppers, canned tomatoes, and sliced mushrooms. That's all the ingredients. All you have to do is cook them all together, one step at a time, in a skillet or a cast iron Dutch oven like I'll be using today. Now that it's October and we're getting into the colder months, at least here in the Northeast, this is definitely one of those dishes that you will love to cook on a cold fall or winter day. The aroma will just fill your house and it's such a satisfying meal. It's a little bit heavy, particularly because this dish uses the bacon to also create a sort of broth. So it's not the healthiest thing, but it's so good. You could serve this in a bowl all on its own, or it'd probably be good with some crusty bread, but honestly, I think this dish is just great by itself. Also, because of that bacon and that bacony broth, this is a great hangover food, I'm not gonna lie. And you can make it the day before and the leftovers are great. I used to love cooking this during the week or on Sunday for work and then taking it in for lunch for the next couple of days, because this is one of those dishes that really gets better the longer that it sits. And that's another reason why this dish takes a little bit of time, but it's so worth it. So like I said, this dish is definitely heavy. It's perfect for one of those cold October days where you just kind of want to bundle up on the couch, watch horror movies, and listen to spooky music. For me, that's of course spooky heavy music, By the way, I have a whole playlist. It's called Heavy Halloween that you can jam to right now. I change it up every year. And today's band is definitely on that. It's definitely an older track. But I knew I was going to be doing this video and I wanted to switch it up from what I used last year. The song that's on my Heavy Halloween playlist, by the way, is actually one of, if not my number one favorite Carnifex song. So I'm not going to tell you what that is because I want you to go check out the playlist. And I usually save this for the end, but screw it, let's do it now. If you're a fellow Carnifex fan, drop your favorite Carnifex song in the comments below so we can introduce even more people to amazing heavy music that they might not have come by otherwise. And also, while we're talking about it, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel because I have even more heavy music related videos on the way, including more dinner and a vinyl recipes that I really can't wait to share with you. So as I was saying, this dish is definitely heavy, perfect for one of those spooky days. And when I think of those things, the first band that comes to mind, for me at least, is Carnifex.
Much like Carnifex, this dish brings just the right amount of heat.
And I'm just going to tell you now, I have been non-stop listening to their 2021 release, Graveside Confessions, since it came out. If we really want to get right down to it, it was when Seven Souls was released as a single, which caught my attention, and I was like, oh my god, what is this? Because it's just so, I mean, we could call it otherworldly heavy, but I mean, it is more than that. I always kind of say that Carnifex has a way of making the dark parts of my life kind of sound like a party, and that's because their music in particular has this sort of groove and bounce to it. At least much more than other deathcore bands, I would probably say. Like, it's one of those signature sort of Carnifex things. They actually have a cover of Head Like a Hole that I highly recommend checking out. I'm eventually going to be releasing a covers playlist. I've been working on it for a while behind the scenes. I just haven't had really the time to finally put it together and release it. But this cover will definitely be on it because it's one of my favorite covers, period. And I bring that particular cover up because it's a really great example of those two key pieces that I would say are like Carnifex signature. On one side, they're completely otherworldly and beastly haunting. And with that, there's also that groove and bounce that makes the music fun and kind of exciting. And those sounds are all extremely present on Graveside Confessions. This album also includes the Graveside edition of 3 previous released Carnifex tracks, collaborating like Killer, My Heart in Atrophy, and Slit Wrist Savior. I can remember shortly after this album was released and vocalist Scott Ian Lewis had made a post on Instagram about people criticizing the lyrical matter on this album. And if you're one of those people, I just want to say to you that not everything's for you. One of the things that makes me love this album so much is the lyrics. Words are just kind of like my thing. I don't always pronounce them right, but that's different. Anyways, there's so many great tracks on this album. As I said kind of earlier, Seven Souls is definitely one of my favorite tracks. It's another one of my favorite Carnifex songs, period. It's just so good. The title track is another favorite of mine. This album just kind of really roars with this intense fury that also has so much spookiness to it that it just speaks to my soul. And so I've been wanting to release this recipe for a while, and I also knew that I wanted to use Carnifex's Graveside Confessions for a recipe at some point. And I actually had a couple of different recipe ideas to pair with it, but I eventually settled on this particular idea because, I kid you not, earlier this week it was like really kind of cold outside for the first time, and it was October and it really felt like October. I was like, oh man, I really want to listen to Graveside Confessions right now. Like, I just want to curl up on the couch with my dogs and just enjoy this. And then I started getting hungry and I was like, I could really go for shepherd's breakfast right now. That would be so good and make this perfect. And then I was like, and here we are. I kind of wanted to show you guys a little bit more about this specific vinyl in comparison to the video I did last time with my Alice in Chains inspired worms in dirt recipe. And that's just because that was just like a basic vinyl, but this one has one of those really cool variations that I want to show you. So if you're a collector, you can like geek out with me about it. So this is side A, side B, side C, and side D. So now that we talked a little bit about this album and the ingredients we're going to be using, now I'm going to show you how to make it.
Hey YouTube, I'm not sure what happened, but this is editing Virgo here because my next clip where I was just going to show you how I slice the smoked sausage is corrupted, I guess. I can't get it to download into my video. So I'm just popping this little clip in here just to let you know this is the smoked sausage that I usually buy, and that just the next step is to slice it into rounds. You'll see what it looks like sliced in this next clip. Okay, and we just want to spread it out enough in the pan so that all of the meat is touching the bottom and it can cook evenly. I usually dump about half in at a time. This is a little bit more than that because I accidentally put too much, so I'm just going to move it around. But all you're going to do is brown this sausage. Like this one right here is kind of what you're looking for, that brown sort of skin but not burnt. This is the proper way to not crowd out your pan. And I have a really bad tendency to burn these, so I'm going to finish cooking these and transfer them to a plate and then come back and we'll cook the bacon. Okay, so we have browned our sausages. Now we're going to cook our pound of bacon so grease doesn't splatter on my camera. I'm going to cook this and then maybe I'll show a couple parts of it, but I'm not going to show the whole thing. And I'm cooking this bacon whole, but we're going to break it up into pieces once it's fully cooked. And so you can kind of already see how that bacon grease is starting to build up. And when we add our tomatoes, peppers, and mushrooms, it's going to form a broth. Also, you do want to make sure that your bacon is crispy because it is going to stew in the broth for some time, and that's going to soften it up a little bit. So if you're somebody that doesn't like crispy bacon, in this recipe you're going to want to crisp it up at least as much as you can because, like I said, it's going to soften up once it goes into the broth.
While the last of the bacon is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and cut up these hot banana peppers and then open up our 2 cans of diced tomatoes. I'm also going to be using 2 5-ounce packs of these sliced mushrooms. You can use whatever mushrooms you want, except I wouldn't recommend using portobello mushrooms. These are shiitake mushrooms, but you can also just use regular white sliced mushrooms. Okay, and we're just going to go ahead and take this off the heat so that way everything that's in there can cool. In the meantime, we're going to crumble up our bacon, and then once that oil is cooled, we're going to add everything to it. Now that the bacon grease that's left over has had time to cool a little bit, we're going to add everything else to this. Starting with the peppers, mushrooms, and the cans of diced tomatoes. And then I'm just going to move this back onto the larger burner. I'm going to heat up to medium, and then I'm just going to mix the tomatoes, peppers, and mushrooms. And then we're going to cover this with a lid and then let it stew for about 5 to 10 minutes or so at least. Then we're going to add our bacon and smoked sausage. Give it a stir, then we're going to go ahead and cover that back up. Okay, and then we're going to stir this again after about 10 minutes. And then we're just going to cover it once more and let it sit for at least 10 minutes or so.
And then you're all ready to serve it up and dig in.
So now that you've watched me make this recipe, I want to see you do it. If you make this recipe, make sure to tag me in your photos and videos over on Instagram and TikTok under @the_versatile_Virgo. And while you're at it, make sure to follow me so to keep up with my shenanigans. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel because I have even more heavy music related videos on the way. Have a great weekend and stay heavy.